Hello, friends. It's been a while, but welcome back to another Substack post and podcast of Nourish You with me, Salima Bilu. Guilt, not becoming. This week's invitation is on rest, replenishment, and holding space for others. Something that I think that most people can relate to. When care is heavy and you choose to rest anyway. This week, I share a deeply personal reflection on taking a much needed break and the complicated guilt that can surface when you step away, especially when someone you love is navigating the early stages of dementia with a family member. As my partner faces his own family's heartbreak, I find myself reliving the emotional wounds and tearing on my own mum's decline from vascular dementia. The grief is still there, layered, slow, and deeply embedded. And yet, I choose to go, to rest, to breathe, to not feel guilty. So, how can we hold space for others without abandoning ourselves? And how can Zen wisdom teach us the strength in stillness? And how or what Pilates move can help ground us in our own center when life feels off balance? These are all things we touch upon in this week's podcast. So I'm writing and recording this post from a sunny Marbella. So grateful to be here with old friends and even more grateful for some time to regroup, reorganize, reprioritize, and most importantly, replenish my emotional, physical, and spiritual reserves, ready for the new journey ahead. I'm here in Marbella not only to have a bit of a reprieve from life of late, but also to help one of my oldest friends with her new project, a yoga and movement studio called Om Yoga. Our friendship enduring marriages, divorces, coming of age, moves, deaths, and the pandemic. However, together again, it feels like no time has passed at all. A bit older and hopefully a bit wiser, we connect and resonate again in the support of each other's projects. If you're a regular listener reader, you're probably aware of my journey of late. It involves supporting and living with a partner with a deep depression, and whom as a result has become a little bit unanchored from life's path. But pleased to report, in despite of this, is once again finding the strength, tenacity, and inspiration to forge ahead. In part echoing some aspects of my own journey, in terms of feeling slightly disconnected from the person I once was due to my own journey and learning how to best adapt to the next one. Being away, not from life, not from love, just from the doing and trying to be there for those who need support and encouragement daily. The delivering, the giving out of what's left in the tank in different ways can wear you down. For me, it's a double edged sword. On one side, I can sense the guilt of me needing to spend or have some space to tend to myself. But on the other side of the sword is the feeling somewhat guilty while my partner carries the heavy and uncertain weight of a family member's vascular dementia diagnosis. It lies in the guilt. The guilt lies in of not having the right words, but only presence. The guilt of choosing rest when empathy whispers do more. Maybe that's just to listen. And I'm learning that guilt is not becoming. It doesn't soften the edges of suffering, mine, his, or theirs. It doesn't strengthen empathy, but instead it distorts it. So, I'm practicing something else instead. Deep listening without self erasure. Empathy that includes me in the circle. Replenishment as quiet resistance against burnout. And presence over perfection. Yet, beneath all of this sits a quieter ache, a more personal one that I didn't expect to surface quite so sharply. Because I've been there before with my own mama. Watching vascular dementia take anyone, let alone your mother or your father or your husband or your wife, moment by moment, not all at once, but instead in slow, painful fragments, I cannot lie, was one of the most difficult dark times of my life. The repeated loss of recognition, the unpredictability, the deep daily grief of watching someone you love disappear while still sitting across from you. It's something, even now, I find pretty difficult to deal with. Now, witnessing again in my partner's family is like standing in the echo of my own past. It's not just empathy, it's memory, and the weight of it is familiar and heavy to me. Providing for someone with this dreadful disease is so much more than caretaking. It's heartbreak in slow motion, and it never, ever really leaves you. So, if I've needed more quiet lately, it's not from absence of care, it's the opposite. It's the remembering, the reliving, the tending to my own nervous system before it frays again. This time, I'm allowing space to hold both the love and the limits, the empathy and the edges, and the urge to help and the need to rest. Guilt, I'm realizing, has no place here. Compassion for others and for self is the only thing that fits. Zen teaches us sit quietly, do nothing. Spring emerges and the grass grows by itself. It reminds me that not all healing has to be active. Sometimes our deepest strength comes from stillness, from being rooted, anchored, rather than for reaching. When the mind wobbles, I always return to the mat. And one small act of strength that mirrors resolve from a Pilates perspective is the Pilates rollback. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or any other platform, please head over to the Substack written post. You'll see a picture of me doing the actual exercise. But if you haven't done before, let's do it together. So sitting on the floor, sitting tall, feet grounded, hands behind back of the thighs. Take a nice big inhale in through the nose, and as you exhale through pursed lips, scoop the belly in and roll halfway back, really rounding the spine. Pause, hold your ground. And then as you inhale to return, spine stacking, calm is rising. It's a physical practice in boundaries, in choosing how far to go and when to return. This move reminds me that I can soften and stay strong. I can bend and not break. And I can meet the moment and myself with compassion. Guilt, I'm realizing, has no place here. Compassion for others and for self is the only thing that fits. This is a short 9-minute podcast this week because I'm on vacation, because I want to offer something that isn't too long, but hopefully is meaningful and helpful and supportive to someone that may be going through a similar journey. This Substack is reader supported, so to receive new posts and support my work, consider becoming a free subscriber. Please feel free to leave a comment or share with anyone that you may know that may be experiencing similar things. And until I speak to you and see you next time, thank you always for taking the time to listen, to read, to share, to comment on Nourish You, the Nourish You podcast with me, Salema Villieu. Until next time, my friends, bye for now.